You're listening to Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment design podcast presented by Falcon's Creative Group. Every episode, we discuss a new topic with a panel of creative professionals. Hi, I'm Cecil McPurry, President and Chief Creative Officer of Falcons.
Welcome to a special episode of Experience Imagination. I'm your host, Audrey DeLong. As you probably know, the annual IAAPA Expo took place in Orlando from November 16th to the 19th. In addition to hosting guests at our own booth, something we love doing every year, of course, we brought a recording kit with us so we could interview a few attendees on the floor and get their takes on the big convention, where the industry is headed, and how they feel about gathering in person, again, at the industry's largest event. Just to give you guys a sample of what the energy was like on the floor, here's a brief tease.
Imagine the largest conference center you've ever been to, quadruple that, and then fill it with amusement park stuff. I mean, we've got little roller coasters, we've got inflatable everything, we've got companies that are showing off the kind of media that they do. If you're here as an exhibitor, it's great to talk to everyone else that's going, and if you're here as just a guest, you get to see all these different crazy things. It's so much fun and so educational.
Yeah, you just heard from Shay Willard, one of our guests on the IAAPA special here. We were able to attract a diverse group of people for this episode. We're excited about that. We have industry veterans, some students, members of TEA's board, and two of Big Break Foundation's most prominent voices. Before we get to those in-person interviews, though, we're going to talk to John Hallenbeck, Vice President and Executive Director of IAAPA North America. John has worked in all aspects of theme park operations, including design, implementation, and operation. I'll be curious to get his impressions about this year's expo, in addition to a lot of other things. Falcons had a really exciting and newsworthy week at IAAPA on numerous fronts, so if you will indulge us in a little horn tooting. Attendees saw the debut of the Airy Force One coaster at Rocky Mountain Coaster's booth. Falcons designed part of the ride vehicle for this jaw-dropping steel roller coaster, soon to open at Fun Spot Atlanta. We showcased top-notch media content at Alcorn McBride's booth, and at the Attractions Technology Coalition booth, visitors enjoyed a custom stereoscopic game that we developed, which was displayed on a beautiful Christie LED screen. And last but certainly not least, we were thrilled to learn that Becoming Jane, the evolution of Dr. Jane Goodall, won an IAAPA Brass Ring Award. It took home first place in the category Best New Product. None of this would be possible without the incredibly talented and hardworking team at Falcon. So shout out to all of my colleagues and the leadership team. Congratulations. All right, let's keep this ride going now and shift to all of those engaging conversations I spoke about a moment ago. It is my pleasure to welcome John Hallenbeck. Thanks for being on the show, John.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always great to talk about the industry.
Definitely. So, first of all, I hope you've fully recovered from the insane schedule you must have been keeping, not only leading up to IAAPA Expo, but, right after and during.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm located here in Orlando where the expo is, and I actually spent a week of my life living in a hotel in my own home city. So it was definitely an ordeal and a long process, but a very fruitful one, and we were absolutely happy to get the industry back together.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a lot of questions about that coming up. But first of all, I want to know a little bit about your history with IAAPA.
Yeah, it actually goes back almost 30 years. I started in the attractions industry at Universal Orlando, worked there for many, many years. Had the great fortune to be able to open Islands of Adventure when that opened. Got to go to Japan and open Universal Studios Japan. Got to do the planning, development, construction, and operation of Universal Studios Singapore. My family was actually there for 7 years. Then shifted gears a little bit and went to Dubai and was part of the Dubai Parks and Resorts team where we opened Legoland, Motion Gate, and Bollywood parks. Then we figured as a family, 10 years being out of the country was probably enough. So actually came back to the States, and for a year I was at Hershey Entertainment working on the new front gate and the addition of the coaster and the moving of the carousel at Hershey Park. Before getting the call that the IAAPA North America job was available. So kind of coming full circle all around. But involvement with IAAPA really for me started almost 20 years ago when I was on committees, doing presentations, being on faculty for various education elements, and really being a solid IAAPA member. So to come to the other side of the fence and now be a part of IAAPA is really rewarding for me to kind of give back a little bit to the industry that gave me so much.
I want to kind of turn our focus now to this year's expo, and just to kind of hear your thoughts. How do you think it went in general?
A thing I heard a lot was quality versus quantity this year. Obviously, our numbers were down a little bit. We did have some challenges getting people from overseas to be able to come to the expo. Luckily, the restrictions on travel got dropped a week before Expo, so we were able to get some of those folks that are already booked travel and were kind of crossing their fingers that they would be able to attend to come. So we did see a little bit of an uptick later than maybe we have in past years, but even with those numbers being down, we did see the number of buying companies that came to the Expo were almost super close to that of 2019, which was the biggest expo we've ever had. So definitely a great show because the people that can say yes were the people that were there. We were also down in the number of exhibitors, but we kind of parlayed that a little bit into being able to offer some things that we've never done before. We had a bigger press coverage space on the show floor, so people could talk about their new innovations, or maybe if they were merging with another company or had a big announcement, they could do that right on the floor. That created a lot of buzz. We added an EduTalk space onto the show floor, which was kind of an educational area. We used the space that we had to the best of our ability to kind of add more benefits for attendees and keep those folks on the show floor, which is obviously what our exhibitors want to have happen.
For the people who couldn't make it, what message would you send to them?
Yeah, we did a couple things. As of everybody has done the word pivot, we did that a lot too with hybrids and, various virtual offerings, whether it be education or webinars, etc. And Expo was no different. We had a digital pass for our Expo in Europe and also here in Orlando, so people could log on and actually see some of the educational sessions that had been going on. I mean, now's as good a time as any for people to be IAAPA members and to be involved, because you will get those in person, but now we've also gotten fairly decent at doing online things, so we can reach a broader audience, and maybe people that don't have the money or the ability to travel can still be connected with all of our great benefits.
Yeah, you hit a lot of good points there. Some people listening might not be fully aware of what IAAPA even does. Can you tell us about that? Like, what's the number one mission?
Sure, yeah. I mean, just in a nutshell, IAAPA is the global association for the attraction industry. We have over 5,000 members worldwide. We actually have 4 regions around the world, that being here in North America with our offices in Orlando. We have an office in the EMEA region in Brussels, Belgium. We have the Latin America Caribbean office in Mexico City, and then the APAC office is in Hong Kong. And basically, we create connections. We have education offerings. We bring people together on committees. We do a lot of discussion groups with various members of certain constituencies that can share best practices and learnings with each other. We advocate to the governments around the world for, bettering the attractions industry. We definitely focus on safety as a concept, and that's not only for operations, but also manufacturing. And being an IAAPA member kind of gets all of those pieces at your fingertips. We do a lot of communications. We have our Fun World magazine, an IAAPA News Daily, which is an aggregated industry news email that comes to your inbox every day to kind of let you know the pulse of what's happening in the industry. And majority, if not all of our speakers at our education sessions are all volunteers. And they're just people that are industry, people like other members that want to learn, grow, and make the industry better.
It's hard to talk about the attractions industry without mentioning COVID and the impacts that it's had. I mean, it's just such a huge domino effect in so many industries, but I'm wondering specifically, what has IAAPA done over the last 20 months, 22 months, whatever we're going on, to ensure that its members stay connected to the global attractions community?
Yeah, it's kind of, you do have silver linings in that though, right? And the nice thing for us was it really brought the industry together, where those competition lines were being knocked down. People were trying to help each other out. We put together almost immediately weekly calls with various members that are pretty high influence in the industry from all around the world, to really talk about on a weekly basis what's going on, what are you seeing, what's happening, how can we better things. We put together a task force that we created in a reopening guidance document. A lot of governments, when they were considering if attractions should be allowed to reopen again, wanted a plan. So we kind of created this template that made that plan that you could alter and personalize to your own attraction or business, but it gave you all the pieces to be able to approach a government and say, we're ready to reopen because we're doing this, 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 and this. And following that template was a huge benefit for a lot of people. We kept hearing over and over that, we're not an essential business, so we don't need to reopen. But I think people being able to get out, have some fun, be together, and is definitely essential. And we really fought hard to make that happen. And we did it with the help of a lot of people that may have not have been as free in sharing information in the past on certain things, just based on competition, etc. But all those walls got knocked down, and we really kind of were the glue for the industry to get people together and talk about how we can get this thing back going again. And happy to say that it's now happening in that fashion. So we're only looking for positive things moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, what a helpful resource to just kind of have a central location where everybody can go to and get this information and the facts. But speaking of the future, what are IAAPA's goals for 2022?
Yeah, we're looking forward. We're ripping the rearview mirror off of the car, and we're just going to start driving forward as fast as we can.
Good idea.
I think our goals really are to continue to take all of the collaboration that we've seen in the last 20 months and put that in a bottle and keep rolling with it. I think everybody wants us to be a safer industry. Everybody wants to be a stronger industry in terms of revenue generation. We're trying to be the industry association to be able to help each other, just trying to push ahead and get back to the glory days of the 18 and 19 years where we were doing our best expos and our members were having their best years ever. And then the switch just got turned off. So we want to turn the switch back on and then rip the switch off the wall so that you can't turn it off again.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just such an expansive opportunity for everybody. All right, John, this has been a really great conversation. I appreciate your time joining us on Experience Imagination.
Well, we always appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about IAAPA and talk about this great industry. And, like I said a few times during this session, is we're looking forward to looking forward. And I think it's really exciting for our industry, and I can't wait to get it going.
Well, good luck with everything, and we'll see you in 2022. Sounds great. All right, well, it's time to transition to our interviews that we held on the IAAPA Expo floor. We are here with Shay Willard, who is at IAAPA for the first time. What do you think of it so far?
IAAPA is spectacular. It's really hard to describe what this place is if you haven't been here before. Imagine the largest conference center you've ever been to, quadruple that, and then fill it with amusement park stuff. I mean, we've got little roller coasters, we've got inflatable everything. We've got companies that are showing off the kind of media that they do. You're probably hearing in the background of me talking right now, you're hearing like a revving motor. That's because not too far from where we are right now, there's a literal grave digger monster truck motion simulator ride that's just, you can get onto it and you can experience it. And the company that I'm here with this year, we're premiering this brand new humanoid animatronic. So it's really all over the entire spectrum. Yesterday, I went into a water attraction. I didn't get wet, but I went into it. Yeah, this like crazy laser light. It's called a dream tunnel. So really, if you're here as an exhibitor, it's great to talk to everyone else that's going. And if you're here as just a guest, you get to see all these different crazy things. It's so much fun and so educational.
Did you come here specifically to see anything outside of your own booth? Like, what were you really looking forward to seeing or checking out?
When you're in this industry for even a few years, you hear about IAAPA and you're like, whoa, they have all these amazing things. And really, I just wanted to see new stuff because there are so many things that people are premiering here. And how often do we get to experience new things in the themed entertainment sphere? But like all the new stuff is here, and that's what I wanted to see.
All right, Shay, tell us about Animax Designs and what they're premiering at IAAPA.
Animax Designs, we've been in business for over 30 years now, and we started off as a puppet company, and then the last decade and a half, we've moved into entertainment robotics, into mechanized characters. We have built animatronics for a couple different exhibitions that are out there on the planet, specifically dinosaur animatronics. So we've done T-Rexes and some Ankylosauruses and a couple of Brachiosauruses. So that's with brand new technology, brand new software. We're premiering the software here as part of our Atom platform. And Atom, A-T-O-M, that's what we are here to show at IAAPA. Atom is a new humanoid platform, and the idea behind the way that we designed him and the way that we're planning to produce him is we are trying to create humanoids and that sort of technology that is achievable by attractions of all size. We want that to be achievable for you. You can animate inside of Maya and then push a button and see the animation happen on the animatronic right then and there.
Nice.
And a little bit of pride, we did win Best Booth at IAAPA this year, thank you. So
Congratulations. There's a lot of booths here, so that is quite an achievement. Thanks so much for being here, Shay.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, yeah.
We're here with Melissa Rumino and Matt Barton. Melissa is president-elect of TEA, and Matt Barton is international board secretary of TEA. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, of course. We're excited about it.
So tell us, Melissa, we'll start with you. What is the number one mission of TEA?
Really, it's to bring the creators and the collaborators of the compelling places, experiences together to share knowledge, spark new ideas, to celebrate innovation, and cultivate a really vibrant, diverse, and growing community.
How many members are in TEA today?
We have about 1,600 members right now, and that's a hybrid of businesses, next-gen members, and individuals.
What are some of the ways TEA has supported its members throughout the pandemic?
Before COVID, we had not done one digital event. TEA had never done digital events before. And our members, our regional boards really stepped up, and we had so much content, so many events. We had a waiting list for digital events within just a few months. So it really was quite an impressive pivot to really keep the members connected and keep everyone engaged even when they were at home.
And an interesting part of that was that it was the first time that our members truly became global members, because all of a sudden it didn't matter where you were located. If you were located in Orlando or LA or London or Shanghai, all of a sudden this content and the connections to members was global.
You know, now in-person events are back. That doesn't mean that digital will go away. It will be a hybrid of the two, and then we can maintain that international feel and make sure that people can actually mix throughout the year. So, you know, it will be a lasting legacy from that pivot.
What are TEA's goals for 2022?
Really looking at how we define the TEA, the Themed Entertainment Association, and what markets are we currently not in that are creating experiences that are compelling, that could put more of our members to work and more of our members to collaborate on other types of projects and opportunities.
We've really grown beyond the infrastructure we had, so there's been a behind-the-scenes rework of our infrastructure. We've been working really hard on that over this last year, and over the next year or so, we're really going to see a lot of changes in the way we manage the organization.
We were able to just launch our WFI, formally establishing the WFI in Shanghai, China in July. With that key infrastructure in place, we can now have new staff that is working with TEA members in China to really start actively engaging people and sponsors in that region, which has never been done before. So we're very, very excited about what's happening in China.
Yeah, and in the Middle East, I was president of the European division for 3 years, and we officially are called EME, so European and Middle East. And the Middle East region has so much potential, but we weren't really tapping it as much as we'd like. There's complexities in running events in various countries, so we launched a task force to really look into how do we overcome those complexities so we can be a bit more active out there. There's so much opportunity, so many enthusiastic members that really want to see more TEA events over there. So the task force have really kind of come back with a lot of information about what we need to do, the partnerships we need to create to really operate in that region. So we're going to see that coming out over next year as well.
What do you look forward to the most at IAAPA every year?
The innovation. Seeing how everybody's taken the last year and really spent the time to innovate and develop new technologies, new approaches, new partnerships. It's really, really great to see, and especially after 2 years of not being on the show floor, seeing what everybody's taken the time during the pandemic to really develop and foster and cultivate has been really exciting for me personally as I've been walking the show floor to see really what the future is. It's exciting.
As an international member and coming from a product company, it's very easy to get very focused on your own technology and your own specifics. And what IAAPA does for me and for my company is really opens our eyes to where the industry as a whole is going and what it's looking for and where do we fit into that bigger picture. And it really helps you kind of lift your head up out of the weeds and really get a kind of understanding of what's going on at a bigger level than just our own kind of products and detail.
Kind of curious, like what's the overall vibe here at IAAPA this year? It is a little bit more low-key.
While the show floor may be a little bit more low-key, I think the energy is there. The desire for reconnection has been overwhelming.
People want to get outside, they want to experience this stuff, and we've got to supply what they want to experience. So energy is the best word.
All right, Matt and Melissa, thank you so much for being with us.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we're here with Matthew Waller, a student at Georgia Tech. Matthew, what year are you in and what are you studying?
I'm a second-year student. I am studying industrial design with a focus on experiential design and probably minoring in business management.
So this is your first IAAPA, is that right?
It is my first IAAPA. Never been down here before, but really taking it all in. It's a lot, but I'm really enjoying it, really seeing what the industry is all about and the opportunities that it has in it.
So there's a lot of rides here. Wondering if you've ridden any yet?
Not yet. There is a roller coaster in the middle of the convention center, which I might go ride later. But no, I've been very busy talking to a lot of different companies, being on the floor. Really just want to see what the industry is all about and seeing, or maybe I could find a fit in it one day.
Yeah, this is a great place for educational sessions as well. Did you sign up for any of those?
Absolutely. I've been to many educational sessions. Just yesterday there was 15 leadership tips in 15 minutes. That was incredible. Also listened to the future of theme park design. And later today I will be going to the session on the Amazing Spider-Man and hopefully learn a little bit about that ride and its impact this has in the industry.
So what have you learned so far that you think you can apply when you start your career?
At Georgia Tech, when we study industrial design, we're looking at the process of how you create products. And so what I take that whole process of really understanding the user through multiple research ideas and then ideating those ideas and conceptualizing them, but then really then modeling them in all programs, whether it's the Adobe Creative Suite, Autodesk programs, Revit, and all those programs. I'm taking all of those ideas and then applying them to experiential design. And so I'm a part of the Georgia Tech Theme Park Engineering and Design Club. And in that club, it's a way for engineers, designers, business people to come together and work on projects that allow us to use our skills we learn in the classroom and apply them in that means as well, so we can learn more about the industry and hopefully grow in it.
So there are a lot of companies here, a lot of people exhibiting. Name some of the ones that you're looking forward to seeing or have already seen.
Yeah, so obviously wanted to come by Falcons. Really appreciate everything you guys do. But I also want to stop by Sally Dark Rides, iTech as well. And also I've seen some Universal Creative and Walt Disney Imagineering people around. Just being able to talk to them and get to know them. This industry is all about the people, whether it's the ones you're designing for or the ones you're working with. The relationships you grow and learning their stories is so impactful and really one of the reasons why I want to get involved in this industry.
All right, Matthew, thanks for being with us. If you want to follow Matthew, go to MatthewWallerDesign.com.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, we're here with Debra Pierce from SCAD. She is the Assistant Director of Industry and Alumni. Hey, Debra.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. And we have John Manos here, who is a freelance production designer. He graduated from SCAD in 2020.
Happy to be here as well.
So we'll start with you, Debra. In your role, what do you do?
I'm a connector. I basically work with our employers and a team of people who work with me, and we bring them together to connect with our alumni for creative opportunities, freelance opportunities, mentorship, you name it, internships. Anything I can do to connect my alumni to creative opportunities is what I'm super passionate about.
And you're here with John today to help connect him. So tell us about some of the companies that you've met so far.
Well, this is my first IAAPA, which has been very exciting. We've met a lot of different companies in the themed entertainment sector. My background's in production design and architecture, so we've connected with Forec, we've connected with iTech, Falcon's Creative, a lot of different companies. It's been very exciting.
Give us an overall impression of what this expo is like.
It's a lot more fun than I expected. It's kind of like a carnival of business, I guess. It's about networking, but it's really about meeting people who have the same passion as you and learning about what else is happening in different corners of the industry.
There is a lot of variety in the industry, right? So, Debra, tell us, like in your role, how do you help place students specifically? What are some of the things you do on a daily basis?
So we actually don't place them. We help educate them and connect them. But on a daily basis, I might do something like, I'll use John, for instance. He's a great case study. John graduated in 2020 when the world shut down, and he had just won a contest for the Imagineers. He won another first place for Cornell, a design contest, but there were no jobs. So when we were working together, he's like, what am I going to do? I just got this degree. So we talked about pivoting and looking at different opportunities. I saw a job, I can't remember if I saw it or you saw it, for Crate and Barrel. I have a person who works in Chicago who had a contact, said, hey, make sure you reach out to them. He got hired there, but we've stayed in touch because he ultimately wanted to work in themed entertainment, which is what he went to school for. A couple of the people that we're meeting with here in a few minutes, I already had sent his information out to him. Hey, this is John. This is his background. Here's his portfolio. Here's his resume. He's amazing. He's won contests. Do you want to meet up with him? So it can be that. It could be because they come to my campus for a career fair. It could be because I set them up to participate in a mentoring program. But I also make them do their part because I'm not a placement agency because we don't have the time or manpower, and that's not going to help them. We want to teach them later on. So that's really what I do.
Teaching them how to connect. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for always supporting our students. Really appreciate it.
Happy to. All right, we're here with David Edmonds, who is here at IAAPA as an attendee. Tell us about your visit so far.
The floor is different from years past. There's a lot more seating areas. It's a little easier to circle the floor without having to stop at every booth because there are some friends and past colleagues that aren't here. But other than that, it's nice to be back. The sounds, the smells, feels good.
All right, so what do you do exactly, David?
So I'm a creative director, art director. My background's in attraction design. I started in operations, moved into design, and then as a creative director, I lead the team, kind of putting together the big idea from a concept going into a schematic that we can hand off for somebody to build. That's kind of my specialty, is that in-between zone.
All right, and anything you're looking forward to seeing at this year's IAAPA?
I'm just looking to see new products. That's kind of what I like to see at the shows, is what's new and what are people going to be asking for next year.
Yeah, I mean, this expo is a lot about innovation. In particular, what innovative products have you seen over the course of the past year?
I'd say probably the most innovative thing over the last year have been like entertainment and festivals, because they're easier to bring up quickly. They fit in a lot of the restrictions. They allowed some of the parks to operate in the restrictions that they were placed under. So I think food festivals, entertainment festivals, that's where a lot of the innovation and the new things have happened in the last year.
All right, and last question for you, David. What are your thoughts on what 2022 will bring for the themed entertainment industry?
I think there's pent-up demand. I think there is going to be a big surge. You're already seeing it in the parks in the U.S. that are having record, quote, attendance without international travelers. It's going to be a crazy year, and I'm not sure a lot of the parks are prepared to keep up, just because going from 0 back to 100 in 2 years is going to be hard for them to do. There might be some growing pains, but the demand is going to be overwhelming.
All right, well, thank you so much, David, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, now we are here with Patrick Kling, co-founder of Big Break Foundation. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, thanks for having us here.
And Monet Rooney is here as well, executive director.
Yes, thank you so much for having us today. I can't wait to talk more about Big Break Foundation.
So since we're here at IAAPA, you're going to get a lot of people that don't have any idea what Big Break Foundation does, what you guys do. If somebody's walking up to your booth, what's the short answer for them?
Our mission is to break down barriers for everyone to find their big break moment in the location-based experience industry. We know that there's so many different barriers and a lot of work to be done, and we need to do that in 3 steps. First is education. We need to meet everybody where they're at and fill in the gaps. Second would be to amplify and assist those who are already in this industry to get them where they want to go. And then next, we need to do outreach in this industry and outside this industry to make sure that we continue to be inclusive, diverse, equitable, and accessible, but also share who we are as an industry so we can get new people, talent, ideas, and better stories.
Perfect. So how did the idea come about?
Myself and Chuck Fawcett had been partnering with the TEA. We've been working together on the board, and had he been seeing some of the work I was doing with TETV and how involved I was, just helping people in general, people who lost their internships, mentoring. And he worked on a scholarship program to provide young professionals access to the TEA Summit. And he called me up and said, hey, why don't we start the Patrick and Chuck Foundation, where we can just do whatever we want and do good things. We believe that there are so many good-natured people in our industry, they just need to know where to start. So, which is why, we brought together an executive council with people who knew a lot more about it than we did. We are an IRS-certified 501c3 nonprofit this year.
Monet, what are the goals specifically for Big Break Foundation at an expo like IAAPA?
Our goals for anything that we do is educating on the importance of inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility idea. This is our first big in-person event with such a diverse group of people from all over the world and sectors. It was just the clear chance to share who we are. We're going to need volunteers, committees. We're expanding our board of directors in the new year so that we can put more strategy into the work that we want to do to change the scope of the industry.
There are a lot of great causes out there, and a lot of businesses are looking to invest in great causes. Tell us about Big Break and why you think that that's a good investment for them.
Yeah, I think the number one thing is that while it feels good and what we believe what we're doing is the right thing to do, it is 100% business backed. When I was at Viacom CBS, our CEO said diversity and inclusion is a good business sense. The attrition rate goes down in your company, people feel like they belong, right? We know that the cost of replacing an employee are sky high. All this is based on solid business practices that are really not up for debate about how to make more money. Everyone wants to make more money. So I think that's very important.
Monet, tell us how people can get involved with Big Break Foundation.
It is about subscribing, going to our website, bigbreakfoundation.org, subscribing so that whether you want to stay connected on all the updates and initiatives that we're putting forth, if you want to get involved there, volunteer opportunities. In the new year, we're going to be scaling up with committees and expanding our board of directors. And of course, as a nonprofit, we need people to donate and to sponsor the initiatives that we have sought out to do.
All right, Monet and Patrick, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, no, thank you for having us.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having us on, Audrey. We appreciate the opportunity.
That's going to do it for our IAAPA 2021 special. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of our guests who stopped by our booth to chat with us at IAAPA, and John Hollenbeck for taking the time to call in. We really appreciate you guys doing that, and we look forward to hearing more from all of you in the near future. And thanks to all of our listeners. We hope you had as great of a time listening to this episode as we had producing it. We'll be back soon with another installment of Experience Imagination.
Thank you for listening to Experience Imagination, a Falcons Creative Group production. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and share with your friends. To keep up with our latest news, visit us on the web at falconscreativegroup.com and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, please email us at podcast@falconscreativegroup.com.